So coming up in today's video, we have an array of different things. We've got some news updates from geopolitical tensions to Super Bowl adverts and beyond. Also some NFT news and what is coming up in the month of February in terms of some releases. So if you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out the pinned comment down below to join us over on Patreon. So here we are, first things first, the war potential in Ukraine with the Russians, the Americans, Europeans, all sorts of tensions arising around this right now. So let's have a little look at some news. Headlines here, Ukraine news live, Europe closest to war for 70 years, Minister warns as German Chancellor flies to Kiev, White House warns the Russian invasion of Ukraine could happen at any time. There seems to be a lot of fear-mongering going on, and this seems to be centering around the Western world mainly. From reports I've read, a lot of people in Ukraine are a lot more calm than those in other countries, which is a little bit unusual. You do kind of see this news narrative just continue to thrive around war. Of course, negative headlines get the most clicks. We are all motivated by the emotions of fear mainly. And just like we saw with the pandemic, with the constant reiteration of how bad things are, all these deaths, all these stats just being pushed in your face all the time, we've now moved on to chapter 2. We've moved past the pandemic and into the wartime narrative, and that is the prevailing narrative by the media right now. So I would say take all of this with a pinch of salt. Of course, this could be highly concerning if something does break out, but at this point, it seems to be very much over-exacerbated by Western media, in my opinion. If we just jump into this, so Zero Hedge has got some great updates regarding this situation. So the Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov tells Putin responses from EU and NATO to Russian security proposals have not been satisfactory. And so NATO is trying to dictate the rules in Europe. Lavrov says part of the US response was more constructive. So Putin comes back, NATO East wars, expansion is endless and very dangerous. Lavrov here, Russia can consider continuing talks with the US and NATO. Russia's Lavrov says we can see a way to move forward with talks. Vladimir Putin asks Lavrov if there's a chance to agree on key issues. Lavrov says there's always a chance to agree and continues contact with the West. If we just continue on, Lavrov proposes to Putin to continue talks with the West, and Putin said all right in response to Lavrov's proposal. Global markets were tanking on the back of all this uncertainty. Here are the two men having a meeting across a rather inappropriately large table, social distancing squared, and the S&P futures then surge and yields jump after Lavrov says there is a way to move forward. So anything positive spoken within this meeting got a bit of a reaction in the markets, which is not a very good thing. So we don't want to have global markets pumping and dumping on the back of what two men in a room in Russia are saying. This shows the frailty in the market, the amount of uncertainty, which is really unprecedented. I've never seen anything like this prior. And this leads me to believe the conclusion that a risk-off move is the best way forward. I have been taking some profits out as we were up to around $45,000 just during last week, which was a good move in my opinion. And I will continue if we get more pumps to further scale up the market to increase optionality, i.e. cash positions. Clearly, if something really negative does get sparked, or even the wrong news headline gets pumped out, and some of these news headlines are literally like crypto YouTubers have written them, while one misquote or one poorly written headline can see markets dump down. So that is not particularly helpful as of right now. A bit of alpha from Raoul Pal here, how to trade geopolitical events, key tips from his 32-year career, a thread. Don't. You have zero edge in trading these headlines, which are all rumor based and will lead you to losing money. This is a public service announcement. Thank you. I will be maintaining all my blue chip core positions. Next up here, we do have Coinbase. This was the ad that they posted for the Super Bowl. Who remembers a DVD player with the DVD sign bouncing around? That is what they did, but with the Coinbase C. And if you scanned it, you would come up with a QR code taking you through to their website. They're giving away $15 in Bitcoin to anyone who joins Coinbase by the 15th of February, i.e. tomorrow. So this was a pretty good ploy, a pretty cool advert in general, catches the attention, had people out with their phones. However, Coinbase spent that $16 million on a Super Bowl ad to take people to the website. They didn't make sure that the website wouldn't crash, and of course it did crash. So too much traffic, the website went down, typical for Coinbase and a real shame for what was potentially a really good moment for them. I did watch the full Super Bowl yesterday, no cringe adverts from crypto related projects. I'm glad to report most things were in pretty good taste, I would suggest, and hopefully this will see some more retail participation in the markets, but no pumpage as of yet. Next up, of course, we have the potential grey or black swan here from the Fed. We're all kind of expecting there to be a big rate hike at some point, but now they have met today, and we're seeing some information come out from various people. This is Mr. James Bullard, the St. Louis Fed president, and he says the central bank faces losing credibility if it does not front load rate hikes. So some of the things he was saying on CNBC here, they need to push up interest rates quickly, our credibility is on the line, and since he's become a lot more hawkish over the last few weeks, markets are now pricing in 7 rate hikes. So further to this, Walter Bloomberg was covering this earlier today. Bullard suggesting effectively let's push the interest rates up sooner rather than later. It's up to Chair Powell to decide on the timing of the rate hikes, but he thinks his plan is a good one, which is to go up to 100 basis points by July 1st, i.e. 1%. The big picture is that inflation is much higher than expected, and inflation reports since October have called into question the idea price increases will moderate without Fed action, i.e. they need to act in order to get inflation down, as it's not coming down on its own. But this is of course going to be massively impacted by those geopolitical tensions with soaring prices for commodities. So earlier in the day we had the Russian talks, and there was a little bit of a silver lining suggesting that we're not beyond the point of no return with talks. Things are going to progress there, and Russia are open to negotiations. So the markets did start to pick up a little bit, but it seems like Mr. Bullard here wants to crash the markets for certain. He says he's a little more worried that we're not moving fast enough, and the Fed will be in a pickle if inflation does not moderate into the second half of the year, and needs to position for that possibility right now. And we should be prepared for asset sales if needed. Hawkish, hawkish, hawkish. And on one of these comments here, a great take by Mr. Captain Rational Noah Seidman. Okay, I agree with this statement, but at least he needs to talk about the fact that any policy action is going to nuke your equity markets, gut your domestic enterprise credit availability, and crush the capacity for zombie companies to remain solvent, and of course plunder tax receipts. And as he elaborates down here, economic activity is needed for the government to collect taxes. If economic activity contracts, they collect less in taxes. Talk about a rock and a hard place. And remember, we have record participation in the stock market by retail participants over COVID. If there is a massive stock market crash, you're going to see a ton of people having to either sell out or become long-term bag holders of those stocks. Not very good, in my opinion. Let's have a quick look at the crypto markets here. Bitcoin is around 42,700 bucks. It's up approximately 500 bucks from earlier this morning when I woke up. So that is pretty good in the face of all this adversity and known unknowns, and even more unknown unknowns coming on the horizon here. We've got Ethereum pushing towards 3K once again, but in general, as you can see over the last 7 days here, most things are down quite considerably. And it looks as if, in general, the charts are posting lower highs and possibly going to move to lower lows. But we'll have to see how our favorite altcoins develop over the coming week or so. But for example, Polygon here pumped up to just over $2 last week when we had around a 45k Bitcoin, and now it's down to $1.65. So quite a bit of a haircut there. I did trim some of my Polygon position, and I do intend to buy it back at cheaper prices. Let's have a little look at the categories next. And if we do the biggest gainers first, and nothing of real note here. When you've got a sector like tourism leading the charge, which is a pretty obscure one, you know things aren't great right now. This is mainly off the back that Travala coin has pumped quite considerably, up 26% over the last 7 days, putting in a 6% gainer. But most things are down or sideways, not putting in any gains, and so you can get an easy win for this sector with just 1 or 2 key players leading the charge. And then biggest losers here, the music sector, which is one to definitely keep an eye on for the future, music NFTs specifically, and of course some of these gaming guilds are down quite a bit as well. I've been monitoring these and we'll be doing a video on gaming guilds very soon, as these are potentially in great buy zones or coming into them. Then Mr. Crypto Gucci does a weekly NFT thread here with all the comings and goings in NFT land. This is a huge thread, so I won't go through too much of it, but some of the headlines here: OpenSea users on Polygon pass 1 million. Polygon NFT market is a good place to actually be looking to snipe some NFTs, and I think this is the market that will just continue growing because Ethereum will not be usable by a majority of people. OpenSea itself has done $2 billion in trading volume already in February, just 2 weeks in. Bud Light featured Nouns DAO in the Super Bowl ad, and the Julian Assange DAO actually acquired a pack piece, and they paid for this clock piece 16,593 Ethereum, which is crazy stuff. A World of Woman NFT will be auctioned at Christie's next month, and Disney says the metaverse is the next horizon and a new pillar for their business growth. Loads of positivity around gaming, metaverse, and NFT integrations if you look through some of the data right now. OpenSea volumes down a little bit over the last week or so. We kind of did top out a little bit earlier than predicted. But as you can see, some of these key collections like Azuki here is down 70% over the last week. Clone X down around 60%, Bored Apes down around 50%, Mutants following suit as well there. And then some of the newer collections are the ones posting gains right now, such as Cool Pets NFTs, which we covered a little bit earlier. But the NFT market certainly not in a deep bear at this moment in time, with the Ethereum price kind of around 3K, not being too expensive, no imminent pump on the horizon. Maybe there's still some more lifeblood in here to go. Now let's have a little look at what is coming up over the next month. There's some key releases for games specifically, and also some interesting things in here. So this one is FNC. Fancy Games are actually releasing their Flappy Bird game on the 16th of Feb. Did cover this one previously. It's up just 4% on the day. I'm sure if we are in bullish market conditions, this would be up a lot higher than that. 20 mil market cap. Here is the chart for you to look at. And here is the actual game. They're actually auctioning off their NFTs. There's 8,888 of them via a whitelist over the course of today. I'll check those out on secondary, maybe get back to you on that. But you need an NFT to actually play the game and then earn the FNC token. And you can then stake it in here as well. But this could be a real breakthrough game potentially. Of course, no givens in this industry, but it's definitely one to have your eyes upon. On top of this, Minds of Delania full game release coming towards the end of the month. And another one I spotted was NFT Champion. So this was one on the Trust Swap Launchpad that I got involved with, and I'm sure some of you did as well. They have their NFT marketplace actually released tomorrow. So this one could potentially pump once the marketplace goes back out, is released, and you need to use the champ token to start buying up the NFT in-game asset. So another one to monitor. It didn't actually make this list, but one I'm aware of. We've also got the Glimmer public sale unlock on February the 20th. There is a massive unlock there. The investors who get the unlock here got their tokens at 25 cents only, so stink bids have been placed on this token. Mars lock drop coming up on the 21st of Feb. And on top of this, we've got Illuvium closed beta, which occurs by the end of this first quarter, so sometime over the next 6 weeks. Second batch of Polkadot parachains to be onboarded around March the 11th, and some token unlocks and releases to be aware of on there as well. So a pretty broad brush approach to the market right now, having a look at all different things, trying to see where there could be opportunities, what's coming up on the horizon, dips to buy, which could be pumps to later sell. So just trying to keep you updated with everything going on right now. I hope you appreciate the content. If you did, of course, drop me a comment, like the video, sub to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Goodbye.